relaxed fit introductions.
Yeah, me too.
I enjoy our relaxed fit introductions where we just kind of like chit chat.
Yeah.
Do you think we got it from My Favorite Murder?
Yeah, we kind of did.
I mean,
okay. There are a lot of shows that do that.
Yeah, I think Last Podcast on the Left does the same thing.
I mean, a lot of the conversational shows are just like they just begin that way. And
what other kind of podcasts are there than conversational?
Oh, there are like scripted ones that are like.
It's true.
And I don't mean scripted.
Like,
I don't mean scripted like with a plot. I mean like NPR where they write everything beforehand and they just say it.
Like You Must Remember This, where there's
yes, where there's definitely like she wrote all that beforehand and is just saying it.
Right.
Yeah,
you're right. Okay, that makes sense. It has personality. I don't know.
Yeah, it does.
I don't know.
Or
you never know how the show's
you have a
begin.
Personality.
Do I have a personality?
You have a big personality.
I'm trying to remember what my sister made a joke about my personality the other day. Oh, it's because my mom and okay. So I went, my mom and my sister and I spent a whole afternoon together on Friday. It was delightful. We went for tea at Dr. Bombay's.
Mm-hmm.
And then we went Christmas shopping at Kudzu.
Okay.
Which is my favorite place, my second favorite place in the world. Obviously, Dr. Bombay's Underwater Tea Party in Candler Park is my favorite place.
Is it?
Yeah. Like, where else would be my favorite place?
Disney World?
I like Disney World. It's all right. It's fun. I did go recently over Thanksgiving. But it's no Dr. Bombay's Underwater Tea Party.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but did you hear about the new Star Wars Interactive Hotel that they're trying to... How do you feel about that?
I feel like if I stayed there, I would never leave.
Okay. I wasn't sure.
The
way you reacted to that, I was like, oh.
I was thinking about, I believe that's the hotel where they're actually going to have, instead of windows that see outside into the world, they like see outside into a fake space. Mm-hmm. That's insane. Mm-hmm. But I would love it.
And apparently it's like a scripted like experience that's scripted two days at a time. And like everyone who stays there goes through the same experience in 2-day increments.
Oh,
and like there was this article about it that described it, and I almost sent it to you, but I was like, I don't know how she'd feel about this, so I didn't.
Like, I don't want to upset her. I love
feel
Star
very
Wars.
strongly about Star Wars, so I didn't want to upset you.
You know, it's funny. People I will circle back to Kudzu, or maybe we won't. I don't know.
So sorry.
No, it's okay. It's not. Actually, you know what? It's not relevant. Maybe it'll come up some other time. A lot of people seem to think that. Actually, it was funny. I was on set yesterday with J&J Productions for Kyla Priest's web series that or is it a web series? It's a pilot. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure if it's a web series specifically, but I was the sound mixer on So Meant to Be, which I believe is I think they're going to be premiering it in February. Anyway, Joanna wanted to ask me about the new Star Wars movie or Mandalorian. I think she wanted to ask me about the Mandalorian. This is actually a great segue, Sarah. You're like the queen of segues because I wanted to talk about the Mandalorian anyway. But she was like wanting to ask me about it. And then as I was talking about it, she was like, oh, good. Yeah, I really wanted to ask you about it. But I know you really love Star Wars. It's like, do Star Wars fans have this reputation of like violent fandom? Like where you're just like, I don't want to set somebody off. I'm not that kind of fan though. I generally love almost everything Star Wars. Like, I'm just thrilled to have more Star Wars. I went so many years of my life only having the original trilogy, which I was perfectly happy to have. Watched it every day of my life. I was fine with it. Then we had the prequels, which admittedly I don't care for that much. Like, I will occasionally watch them for the novelty of it, but overwhelmingly dislike it. Mm-hmm. I would say the only good thing about the prequels is Ewan McGregor, who is now getting his own Disney Plus Obi-Wan Kenobi show.
I'm sorry, what?
Well, they're filming an Obi-Wan Kenobi Star Wars TV series, like The Mandalorian, which is a TV series. They're filming an Obi-Wan Kenobi show that takes place in between the Revenge of the Sith, which is the last episode of the prequels, and A New Hope or Star Wars or whatever you want to call it, the original Star Wars film. So that time in between where he was living on Tatooine, that's when the show takes place.
Nice.
And I think Ewan McGregor was the best thing about the prequels.
Yeah.
Perhaps the only tolerable thing about the prequels, in fact. And more than tolerable, he was great. I thought he was great, given that was overwhelmingly terrible, shitty pile of shit 3 movies, right?
Basically, yes.
But even still, I'm not like violently angry about it. Like I don't yell at people about it. If someone is like, I like the prequels, I'm just like, oh, okay. But I'm not gonna fight them on it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I love The Force Awakens.
Mm-hmm, me too.
I didn't really watch like the Clone Wars and stuff. Like I just wasn't into it. I know a lot of people feel really strongly about that. I tried reading one of the Star Wars novels, couldn't get into it. It was almost more like a Star Trek. You know, Star Trek is very tech heavy.
Oh, okay.
It felt more tech heavy and less adventure-y to me.
Okay.
And so I struggled a bit with that. So I didn't quite enjoy those as much. But there was really like, you just had the prequels for a long time. It was like the first ones and the prequels, and that's all we had. So once we started getting all this Star Wars and people are like, I'm getting Star Wars fatigue. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, I've been waiting my whole life for this. I thought The Force Awakens was great.
Yeah.
The
Last Jedi as well.
I enjoyed The Last Jedi. I loved a lot of it.
Yeah.
There were parts of it I didn't like. Mm-hmm. I did not care for the random errand to the world that looked, honestly, that part felt like the prequels to me.
Yeah.
Where they go to that world in the casino and all that shit. And everything they did had absolutely no effect on the story at large. So it was like a completely useless side mission.
Yes.
And I think Finn is an excellent character. He's really cool. A stormtrooper who is basically a child slave. Mm-hmm. Like, what? Let's explore that. Like, what kind of damage does he have? Like, does he wonder about his family that he was taken from? Like, does he feel any loyalty to any part of the Empire? Because there are other
really
people.
Need to introduce a new character when they could have explored his character, right?
Yeah, or just like explored his feeling like he doesn't want to join something because he was forced to join something. Like maybe he has trouble committing to being part of the rebellion because he doesn't want to get caught up in some political debacle again, or like where he's just like a cog in the machine. Or maybe he feels some kind of loyalty, not to the Empire, but to the other soldiers that he grew up with that are still there. Like there's so many things you could have explored with that character and they didn't. And so I feel like they really did him dirty, you know? Mm-hmm. Like they gave him a shitty story in like the dumbest part of the movie. The stuff with Rey training with Luke, I loved it. The stuff with her and Kylo Ren having this weird Force connection, I love that stuff. All of the stuff about her like coming into her own as a Jedi, I loved it. I loved the way that it was shot. I thought some of the different turns they took that were like kind of outside the original mythology were great. Yeah. And so I did, and I loved Solo. A lot of people were like, "Well, Solo sucks," and I'm like, "What are you expecting? It's a caper. It's like a space caper. Like, what do you want? It's fun, you know. It's a So I might sound like a ranty Star Wars fan right now as I talk about all these properties. Rogue One, also enjoyed that as well. I liked all this stuff. So when people are like cautious about, do I like the Star Wars park? I haven't been to it yet because we do go to Florida every Thanksgiving and go to Disney. But my cousin works for Disney, so he can get us in on he has a certain number of passes a year. But he can't get us into parks that have new attractions. So we haven't been to Star Wars yet.
Wait, is there a Star Wars park at Disney? I thought it was
Oh, yes.
Right. Oh, the Harry Potter world is at Universal.
Right. And we've been to that one multiple times. But he doesn't work for Universal anymore. Right. But when he was working for Universal, we were able to get into Universal as well.
Okay.
And so this year we went to Epcot because that was one of the parks he could get us into. And we had a great time. The kids had an awesome time. But we haven't been to Star Wars yet.
Okay.
And I think that once I go, I will, you'll have to forward my mail because I'm not leaving.
Okay. So is it is it a whole new park or is it part of Magic Kingdom or something?
No, we went to Magic Kingdom last year, and that's kind of the older stuff. Yeah. So it's like Jungle Cruise, which is probably problematic. Jungle Cruise.
Space Mountain, Big Thunder Mountain Railroad.
Yeah. What did we ride? Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah.
It's a Small World. All that stuff.
Yeah.
That stuff is all in Magic Kingdom.
Hey, you don't have to tell me about Disney World. I've been there like a million times.
Oh, that's right. Well, is that your favorite place on earth?
Yes, it is.
What's your favorite thing about Disney World?
That like it's magical, I guess. Like
it does feel like being on a film set to me.
It does. It feels fake, but like safe fake. Like you can just kind of like relax and like you know that like
it is highly regimented.
my family since I was a kid, like since I was like before I was born, my parents went, and then when I was like I have pictures of me at Epcot when I was a baby, and we went like almost every year until I was in my 20s, and I've taken 2 friends there. And like I just have such an attachment to that place, but I haven't been there in over 10 years, and it probably has changed. But like when I was a kid, we started to make jokes about it, like defending the magic. You know, like there was one trip we had like that. We were like going to make t-shirts that said that, and like because we were as kids we were starting to be like, oh, like Disney is like a big evil corporation, and like
even more so now than it probably was 10 years ago.
Yeah, and so it was kind of like mixed. It was like, oh, they're a big evil corporation.
But you know what? When I'm there, I'm like Disney, do whatever you want with me. You can have me. I'm serious.
Exactly.
It's like I totally drink the Kool-Aid when I'm there.
Yeah, me too.
I just like I don't know what
defending
happens to me.
Magic is.
But I can go in there and like I'm like, this is great. Everything's fine. Trump is not president.
And if someone does anything hinky or if someone steps out of line, you know that they're gonna be on them. Like you're gonna. It's like when I was a kid, it was like you're gonna get kicked out of.
It sounds
Disney.
like a goddamn
like a communist state or
like
something.
like I was gonna say like a fascist state, but
yeah.
Doesn't feel that way when you're in there. But
yeah, no, but it kind of is.
God, I'm just like, oh, it feels safe and magical in here.
That's what it's like to live under a fascist regime.
Is it?
Yes.
Only if you're certain people, though. If you're in certain groups. If you're in other groups, it doesn't quite feel safe. So yeah, I think that I really like, for example, Harry Potter. Like my mom and my sister, I love I like Harry Potter a lot. I love Harry Potter. It's great, but it's not ingrained. It's not in my bones the way that Star Wars is. Like Star Wars is a kid
when it came out,
right? Star Wars is like part of my DNA, and it's part of the DNA of my childhood, and so. I feel giddy like a kid when a new Star Wars movie comes out. And so I think I imagine I'll probably feel that way when I go to the park. Which I think is a good segue to what I wanted to talk about. Now, of course, we haven't even said the name of this podcast yet.
Oh my God.
Is this the Disney podcast?
This is the Star Wars
Disney
Plus
podcast. No, it's not.
No.
It's the Georgia Made podcast.
Georgia Made.
So welcome to the Georgia Made podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Nicole.
I'm your other host, Sarah.
And we've been prattering on for what, 15 or 20 minutes without even saying. This is a podcast about film and filmmaking in Georgia.
Not Star Wars.
And not Disney parks, although it is Georgia adjacent.
Georgia adjacent.
It's in our
close enough to drive to.
Our weird state cousin, Florida.
Cousin.
You know, like Florida.
Yeah.
Florida's like that
or
cousin
maybe our
that
weird
you're like
state grandma.
I feel like Florida is more like a cousin that is like that cousin that's been to jail.
Yes.
And you're like, you know, you guys like were close when you were kids, but there was always something kind of weird about them. You know, that's Florida to me.
Yeah.
So our topic today, which we'll get into in a moment. I've got one more thing I want to discuss before we get there. Our topic today is what, Sarah?
It is the movie that was written by one of our friends. It is Broadcasting Christmas.
Broadcasting Christmas. That's right. So
a Hallmark film.
A Hallmark film. We felt like, so it was not shot in Georgia, right?
Nope.
But in fact, did we even look up the filming locations? Was it shot in New York? Was it shot in Vancouver? It seemed Vancouver-y. I feel like we could, like, even though this film was not shot in Georgia, I really was racking my brain, and I felt like there could not be a better Christmas film to talk about around the holidays than a Hallmark film written by hometown hero Topher Payne. Where was it shot?
Fairfield County, Connecticut.
Okay, well, she is, and that's it. It wasn't shot anywhere in New York. So what were the scenes in New York filmed? They were filmed somewhere in like
all it says is filming locations, Fairfield County, Connecticut.
Okay. I guess that makes sense. Those buildings did look a little quaint compared to actual New York City. It didn't feel as high rise as a. Anyway, we'll get into it. But yeah, Topher Payne. For those of you who don't know, and if you're outside of Atlanta, you might not be as familiar with Topher Payne. Is a prolific Atlanta playwright. He's written tons of plays.
Yes.
So we will talk more about him and the film. That is going to be our topic for this month. But I could not move on with our topic without talking about The Mandalorian.
Okay.
A little bit. Which
I hadn't heard of on the Nicole found out on the drive here that I hadn't even heard of it before.
I don't know how you could not have.
I haven't been online that much. I was in China, and plus my family doesn't have Disney Plus because we refuse to get any more new stuff.
Okay, I don't want to sound like I'm. I don't want to sound like a drone for Disney, but like, of course, I have kids, so I have to have Disney Plus. But also, if you're an adult, like they have all the Pixar movies, they have all the Marvel movies, they have they bought Fox's catalog of movies, so they have a huge stockpile of Fox titles. They have, of course, all the Disney movies, except for Song of the South, which they're not releasing. Please listen to You Must Remember This podcast for more information on that. By the way, the final episode was about Splash Mountain. It was one of the most riveting goddamn podcasts I've ever listened to.
I can't wait to. I've been listening to it. I'm on the White Allies and Communism or whatever that.
Oh yeah,
that
was good about Maurice Rapp, the screenwriter. So Disney Plus. So The Mandalorian's been out since early November.
Yeah. No
I'm
idea.
just saying. Okay, so that's why I had to download Disney Plus. Like, fuck my kids. Like, that is why we really downloaded Disney Plus was because we have to have access to all the Star Wars properties like 24/7. So The Mandalorian, which is a television show. It's released weekly, so it's not like a Netflix show. Like Chris and I drop our plans every Friday to watch The Mandalorian because we're like, fuck everyone else. We need to know what happens on The Mandalorian this week. It is, I'll say this about it. It's about a bounty hunter, Boba Fett-like type character. In fact, I've been wondering if part of the inspiration of the show was from the scrapped Boba Fett like side movie. Like after Solo didn't do so well, they also had a Obi-Wan movie and a Boba Fett movie planned, and they scrapped that. So they've got an Obi-Wan TV show in the works, and they've got The Mandalorian, which is about a bounty hunter who wears a helmet, looks very much like Boba Fett, right? And so if they did repurpose that stuff, I say kudos, because one of the things that really works about the show is that we don't know anything about this guy going into the show, so we don't have any preconceived notions about like what happens to him or what his moral compass is. Like we're just like following him as he goes through his journey, right? He's played by Pedro Pascal, who is he's been under a helmet the entire fucking time the show's been on. He was on Game of Thrones.
Okay,
that's how I remember him, as Oberyn Martell from Game of Thrones, the hot guy from Game of Thrones, who last I saw got his eyes gouged out and his skull crushed. Pedro Pascal wears a helmet the entire time in this show, and
how can you relate to him? How can you connect to him?
He does excellent helmet work, Sarah. That's how.
Okay, helmet work.
The helmet work is flawless.
Okay.
And I just I want him to take it off so bad.
Yeah.
Like he's almost taken it off like multiple times. And it's like,
is this like a tease or something?
I want him to, well, he has to keep it on because it's part of like the religion of his bounty hunter, like the tribe that he's from. that he was adopted into, like they don't take their helmets off in front of anyone ever.
Okay.
So I picture him in the shower, like still
With
wearing a helmet.
Yeah, okay. Do they have
Probably. Like they have to bathe somewhere, right?
Yeah.
I'm picturing him in his jammies, wearing the helmet.
You would think they would make some like comfortable night helmets.
Like a soft Nerf helmet. So but I just like, I want to see his face. I want to make sure his eyeballs are okay.
Have you looked up his face online?
No, I know what his face looks like.
Okay.
I want to know he's inside there. So I hope he takes his helmet off soon.
It'll be like the end of season 1. They'll be like,
he almost took it off in one of the episodes, and I was like, it's happening, and then it didn't. The real reason I was flabbergasted that you knew nothing about The Mandalorian was like, as a connoisseur of cute things, the fact that you didn't know about, okay, so this is all spoilers for Mandalorian. So if you've been living under a rock and you have not seen any of the memes on the internet, the breakout star of The Mandalorian is a character we call Baby Yoda. And that's the exact sound you made when I described Baby Yoda to you.
Yes.
He is so cute. It's unreal. He has united this country in a way that or this world in a way that I feel like nothing else could. People cannot stop loving, like Baby Yoda. We all are just like holding our breath, hoping that Baby Yoda is going to be safe and taken care of every episode. I can feel the world holding their breath with me as I watch every episode of The Mandalorian. We're like, where's Baby Yoda? What's happening? And The Mandalorian, as a parent, I have to tell you, he's not great at his job as a parent. I'm a parent, and he's leaving the baby on the ship.
Wait,
I'm like, you can't leave a baby on the ship. I'm not going to say anymore because I do want you to watch it.
Oh, okay.
Baby Yoda. The other interesting thing about Baby Yoda is he's a puppet.
What?
He's not CG. He's
computer animated
puppet.
What?
And when you watch it, I think that's one of the reasons that the world has fallen in love with Baby Yoda. It's that tangible puppet cuteness.
Okay.
Now, you know Werner Herzog, right?
I've heard that name. Please refresh
He's a
my
documentarian and basically a art house filmmaker. So he's made some narrative films as well, but he is like one of those one of the most well-respected art house film directors in our modern age.
Yeah.
He plays a character early on in the show that interacts.
He's a director and he plays.
Yeah, he doesn't act very often, but they got him to act for the show. And he interacts with Baby Yoda in a couple scenes. I read an article, and it was an interview with Deborah Chow, who, by the way, directs an episode of The Mandalorian. She's the first female to ever direct a Star Wars property. Yeah, exactly. Anyway, she said that when Baby Yoda was on set, like, first of all, Werner Herzog has said that Baby Yoda is so adorable that your heart breaks when you look at him. Also,
oh my God.
She said that they would do shots of Baby Yoda in it, and then they would remove Baby Yoda and do it without him in case the puppet didn't look real, so they could put in CG.
Right.
And Werner Herzog would say to them as they carried him off, that he would say, "You cowards! He's magnificent!"
Oh my God.
Which is such a Werner Herzog thing to say.
Yeah.
Anyway, you got to watch The Mandalorian.
Okay. Just for Baby Yoda.
Just for Baby Yoda.
Okay.
I mean, it's also a great show. It has the right mix of nostalgia and new stuff, because it's like, I've got this new character. I don't know anything about him. I'm not following an old character, which I do enjoy also. But I think one of the hard things about Solo was that we had expectations.
Yeah.
I enjoyed Solo, but I think a lot of, and I can feel this feeling and why people have this feeling. When you have a beloved character that you know, and you know what their ending is, then not only do you have expectations about how it should be done, but you also have the stakes are kind of lower.
Yeah,
because you know what happens
yeah.
to them. He doesn't live. He gets killed by his own son in The Force Awakens.
What I'm saying is he lives through that film. He will live through that
right.
film. So the stakes for that film.
Yes.
Yeah.
And again, this is why I think if it's a scrapped Boba Fett idea, it works because I feel like I care more because I don't know who this guy is and I want to know more about him and I want to see where he goes.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, those are my thoughts on The Mandalorian. It's a great show. A lot of people love it. Baby Yoda. That's all I want for Christmas, and not like a doll. Like I want Baby Yoda.
And they call him what on the show?
They call him the child.
The child.
Because he doesn't have a name, and
he doesn't have a name?
We don't.
They didn't give him a name?
No, they've just called him the child so far.
Do you think he'll turn into something? Like he'll be like, they'll tie it back to Yoda? Or like
Yoda has been dead for 5 years when this fella comes on the scene.
Was Yoda like a type of thing that like there are more of things that look like him?
Oh yeah, he's from the same species.
Okay.
I don't want to say too much more than that because I'd like you to watch the show. But
okay. How will I if I don't have Disney Plus?
I have Disney Plus.
I'll just come and stay at your house.
We'll have to watch it at my house.
Okay.
You think I don't want to watch? I've already seen the first 3 episodes twice.
Okay.
And every time I see Baby Yoda, it's like this feeling of peace washes over me.
Interesting. And Nicole is not someone who is like me where she just like collapses on the floor if she sees something cute. So this baby must be super cute for you to have that kind of reaction.
I wake up at night sometimes thinking about Baby Yoda. Where is he? What is he doing? Is he being fed?
Oh my God.
Does the Mandalorian have to change his diapers?
Oh.
Okay. I feel like we've talked long enough.
So much about Star Wars.
I could go on. We could literally change this into a podcast about Star Wars and I would never run out of things to talk about.
I would just sit there going, mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Nice. Okay.
Shall we talk about broadcasting Christmas?
Yes, please.
Let's broadcast.
Broadcast the Christmas.
Let's broadcast it.
So suddenly everybody remembers how to get to Stanford. You and Patrice should really look into carpooling.
Ah, that's good advice.
So what brings you all the way back here?
Well, I hear some congratulations are in order.
Thank you.
And after that publicity stunt you pulled, how could they say no?
Yeah, I'm so irresistible. I mean, that's why I've been at the lowest rated station in Stanford for a decade.
Hey, I invited you to come to New York. You're the one who decided to stay here, remember? I'm just looking out for you.
Oh, you're looking out for me?
Well, come on, Em. The network pulling you in like that is just a big rating stunt. You're that fun thing from the internet, like a 5-year-old banging out jingle bells on the keyboard.
Did you just compare me to a 5-year-old?
I'm saying you're a novelty. It's gonna wear off in a few days.
And this has absolutely nothing to do with the fact that we're up for the same job again.
Em, I know you. You're a reporter. You like being out in the field. On a show like Rise and Shine, you're stuck behind a desk sharing personal stories. I'm a little worried people won't find you relatable.
Well, I think you're worried that they will.
Okay, broadcasting Christmas is...
Why did we choose this, Nicole?
Why did we choose this? Well, as I said in the intro, so Topher Payne wrote this film, and he has written a lot of Hallmark movies. He's written, actually, I think 3 Hallmark Christmas movies, and then like 2 other, maybe 1 or 2 other Hallmark films. Mm-hmm. Topher Payne is a beloved Atlanta playwright. He's written... I don't have a list of his plays in front of me right now because, as we have demonstrated on this show in the past,
we don't do research.
No journalistic integrity. But I have seen personally. We saw Morningside,
which was excellent,
fabulous,
fantastic story, fantastic dialogue and characters.
His dialogue is razor sharp. His cultural references are fucking on point. He writes Southern women so well.
Yes.
He writes older women so well.
Mm-hmm.
And all the things that we love about these iconic Southern events, like having a baby shower or whatever, so he's an excellent writer. And he's written a ton of stuff. So he's written Morningside, Perfect Arrangement, I think is something that's been recently going around. He's published and his plays are put up outside of Atlanta, so in other cities, not just here.
Yeah.
The first Topher Payne play I ever saw was Angry Fags, which was like this incredible play, which they recently just did this was pre-Trump.
Mm-hmm.
And they recently did a sort of like a revival of it where he like rewrote some of the ending, I think, to include, the idea that this that was taking place in a post-Trump era.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I didn't get out to see that version, but I would have loved to. It's a really, really good play. So Topher is amazing. In fact, we had the joy of having him on our other show, the Feminine Mistake podcast, as a guest. He was a guest in season 2. It was Striptease, which was a film that he picked. We usually pick the films, but we were like, you're coming on the show and that's amazing. What do you want to do? And he picked this weird 90s film that it was
Demi Moore.
Just a joy to have him. We had a blast recording that episode. So you can check him out on the Feminine Mistake podcast from season 2, Striptease. All of the episodes about striptease, he was in those. So when we were thinking about like what to do this month, and we were thinking about like it's the holidays, like it'd be fun to do a Christmas movie. I mean,
what better way to celebrate the holidays in Georgia than a Hallmark film written by one of our friends?
Absolutely. So we looked through the Hallmark films that he had written, and this was the only one that we could stream legally. So also when I watched, because I was like, I can probably get access to the others. I sent Sarah some trailers, and I was secretly hoping the Broadcasting Christmas would be your pick because it just seemed kind of bananas. I was like, Melissa Joan Hart's in it, Dean Cain. I feel like you can't go wrong. Mm-hmm. And I was overjoyed when Sarah was like, we should do this one.
Yes.
And so here we are, Broadcasting Christmas.
Yes.
Do you have any we've got our 5 that we each get to 5 things, right? So why don't you go first, Sarah? What's something about Broadcasting Christmas that you'd like to talk about?
Well, I hate the fact that I saw the poster and stuff and didn't know that Melissa Joan Hart and Dean Cain were in this. Like, how did I not recognize them on the poster? Like, as soon as it started, I was like, oh my God, Melissa Joan Hart.
They're very retouched. It's a very
True.
retouched photo.
True.
So, I mean, Hallmark posters. This is my first Hallmark movie,
This is my
by
first
the way.
Hallmark movie, too.
I should add that my mother watched this with
Yes.
us as well because she was staying with us.
And it was her
week.
first Hallmark movie as well.
So it was a first for all of us.
Yes.
Yeah, Melissa Joan Hart and Dean Cain are in this film. Of course, Melissa Joan Hart. I was a big fan of Clarissa Explains It All.
Me too.
Oh my God, you watched it too?
Yes, when I was
love
6.
that show.
I watched it when I was 6.
I was like,
you must have been like 15? 14?
I was
15?
15. I was a naive 15 years old. I recall being a tween. So you may have seen it on the rebroadcast, probably. But yeah, I was a tween. I'll never forget her amazing outfits.
Yes.
And what was her friend who used to use the ladder? I don't remember his name.
It was a guy. What
Yeah, it
wasn't
was
her
a
friend a
dude.
guy? I remember
Max or something.
that. That was like exciting. I was like, ooh, a guy is climbing up to her
I
window.
know,
And
but
that
they were
started my
it was completely
lifelong-
sexless.
I know. It started my
Yeah.
lifelong desire to have a guy climb up my window.
I think it ingrained more in a fear of me of like people can enter through your window at night. That seems terrifying. So Melissa Joan Hart, and then of course Dean Cain. I recall from he was Superman.
Yeah,
with Terry Hatcher.
I never saw that show.
I was a little young for it, and I, to be honest, have never I loved Christopher Reeve's Superman when I was a kid, but I've never been a huge Superman head.
I watched the fuck out of Smallville.
Yeah, well, that's because that guy is cute.
Very cute.
I lost steam on that one after a while, though. I didn't watch the whole thing. Anyway, back to this film. So Melissa Joan Hart, Dean Cain are in this. Let me take a look at my list here. Okay, here's what I got to say. This movie crams Christmas.
Crams it
into every frame. Like
5 trees a frame.
There's a minimum of 5 Christmas decorations in the frame at all times. Like arrangements on the table. There's like each house has at least 10 Christmas trees,
and a lot
in
of
it.
them are thin enough to really be squeezed into in between people and in the background nicely, so that it's not just like all these wide Christmas trees. Like they squeeze
No, it was
it.
nicely shot. I
Yeah.
mean, I get why people like Hallmark movies. Like, I don't know that I'm the demographic, but because I like, I'm like a person who like when I'm relaxing, I'm going to watch a horror movie, or like a sketch comedy show or something. But I totally get why people like Hallmark movies. I felt so fucking Christmassy after I watched that. I was like, I want some hot cocoa. I want some warm slippers. I need to go to Walmart right now and get at least 6 more Christmas trees because my house only has 1.
I felt more Christmassy after while you were sleeping.
Oh, I find that movie to be a little creepy.
Yeah, all rom-coms are a bit creepy, especially from that time period.
Yeah, that one's like there's some things there.
Yeah,
she's got some problems.
Yeah,
I feel like.
Yeah, for sure. Back to this movie. Sorry.
Sorry. Yeah, so yes, Christmas is ever present. Yes. I mean, even like everyone's wearing red and green constantly.
You're right.
There were some Melissa Joan Hart had some pretty cool outfits.
Yeah,
in this.
She did.
I liked her like green and orange and gold sort of ensemble she was mixing. So I guess that was my thing that I wanted to bring up first was that Christmas is fucking here.
The main character.
You are gonna see it. The main character
is Christmas.
You're right.
Broadcasting Christmas.
Yeah, it's not broadcasting Melissa and Joan Hart and Dean Cain.
It's Melissa Joan Hart, Dean Cain, and Christmas.
They are second banana to Christmas.
Yes.
For sure.
True.
What's your next thing?
So I actually liked the character that Cynthia Gibb played.
Oh,
she's been in a lot of Hallmark films, so she's the producer.
Yeah, because we watched a bunch of trailers after this just to get a feel of what other Hallmark movies are.
She's in all of them.
It's basically the same plot, I would say.
Yeah.
With just different faces.
Yeah.
And different holidays, maybe.
It's the same holiday, Nicole. They do not have a Hanukkah Hallmark film.
That's a good point. What would a Hanukkah Hallmark film be like?
Oh God!
Like he has to, she tries to make him latkes, but she burns the latkes.
Oh my God! I don't know. You know more about that than I do.
8 days of love, or 8 days to love.
Oh my God.
Like it takes them 8 days to get together.
Oh my gosh, Nicole, you need to write it.
I need to write this movie.
Oh my gosh, no, seriously, like that would make so much. You should totally do it. 8 days to fall in love.
8 days to fall in love. That's my name of my Hallmark.
Oh my God,
Hanukkah movie. We watched a bunch of Christmas Hallmark movie trailers after we watched this, just to get a feel for the other ones, and it was like the same. It was a very similar plot, I would say.
But anyway, Cynthia Gibb, her character, the producer, she
was nosy as hell.
She was like, you guys are gonna get together.
She's like forcing them together, but then they get together and she's like, what are you guys doing? And
exactly.
It's like, but were you just not saying in the last scene, you like were forcing them to get together at this party?
Yeah.
Anyway.
And then you're like, you left some dates.
How dare you?
You left some
How dare you leave?
Party. Yeah.
To fall in love like I asked you to.
Yeah.
But no, I liked her too. She was likable. She... Yeah. I think she was kind of like that. I'm a super busy producer lady, but she had heart. She
did. I was gonna say, yeah, she had heart, and she seemed to really care about them and their well-being. And she also was not involved in the whole scheme to get Dean Cain to get that job that his dad called.
No, but she knew about it.
She knew about it, but
so
she wasn't like a scheming.
She wasn't a scheming schemer. No, she wasn't a scheming producer type. I guess we should say right off the bat, for those of you who haven't seen Broadcasting Christmas, and I mean, come on, it's on Amazon Prime. It's not Amazon Prime. Like you have to watch it. It's like if you have the Hallmark Channel on Amazon, it's okay. On there, but like you have to buy it otherwise. Anyway, so basically, Broadcasting Christmas is about two exes. Who were in the news industry. At one point, they were both up for the same promotion at a big network in New York. and he got it and she didn't, right? And then the producer lady, I assume, was from Connecticut also, because they seem to all three know each other. The one, Cynthia Gibb.
Yeah.
That was, I'm not really sure what was
Yeah,
going
they
on there,
didn't really
but
describe it. Yeah.
I think so maybe she moved to New York also. I don't know. Anyway, so Dean Cain wanted Melissa Joan Hart to move to New York, but she couldn't do it because she felt bad because she really wanted that job and she was sad that she didn't get it and felt embarrassed. So she stayed in Connecticut to do the small town news. Then there's like this like Good Morning America type show called Rise Up.
Rise and Shine.
Rise Up is it's a different show entirely. Rise and Shine America. I almost said Rise Up America. Rise and Shine America. It's a morning show with Jack A.
Yeah.
Who I love. Jack A is the host, and then her co-host is having a baby. So she's leaving the biz.
Yep.
And so there's basically like a host off to find out who's going to be the co-host.
It's like the Mythbusters, where they were trying to find the next
They did?
Mythbusters.
Who
Yeah.
did? What?
Yeah.
What about Jamie and
after
the other guy?
They left, and so
What?
they had a whole
What?
they had a whole season to find the next.
What did they go to do? What else could they possibly do?
They did challenges where they like had to like.
No, I mean like what did Jamie and the other guy do? Like what are their jobs now?
Oh, I don't know, but they have a lot of money, and so they can do what they want.
Okay. So who won?
I don't know. I didn't watch the whole thing because I know that eventually it was like a white girl and a Asian guy and two white guys.
A white.
So
wait. Okay.
you know, like Cary
Sorry, I just
Grant.
put a coat on, so you may have heard some swishing. It's cold in here.
So it was essentially the same type of thing as the original show, where there was like an Asian man, a white woman, and like some more white guys.
Okay.
It was like the same demographic.
So two white guys got it.
I think so. Yeah.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah.
One of them had a handlebar mustache.
No.
Oh.
Or maybe. I don't know. I didn't watch the whole thing because it kind of upset me. I was like, I like the old Mythbusters. I don't want any new
It's like,
Mythbusters.
I don't want a new dad.
Yeah, exactly. So
back to the show.
yeah, sorry.
No, I thank you. Thank you for that important information. So they're both up for the same job, and tensions are running high.
Well, first, they're not up for the same job because Melissa Joan Hart's character is not up for the job at all.
Right, because she's not a name.
How does she get to be a name? She
Viral.
does one
She
of
goes
those.
viral.
She does.
She says that she should get the job, and
Like on her show.
because they're like talking about it on their show in Connecticut.
Yeah.
And they're like, he's like, who do you think should get the job? And she's like, me, I should get the job. And so she goes viral, and then they put her on as a candidate.
Which is actually very believable because stuff like
I
that.
think so.
Stuff like that actually
Yeah.
does happen.
Yeah, I agree. So this obviously gives them an opportunity to mend fences and fall in love
Again.
again.
Again. Also, like, this might be jumping ahead, but can you really fall in love with someone as quickly as they fell in love with each other? Were
I'm
they
gonna guess
always
that
in
they never fell out of love.
love? Okay.
You
6
know?
years. It's a long time.
I mean,
if they were really right for each other, why?
I got the
Why wouldn't
sense
she go
that she
with
had
him?
been on a series of unsatisfying dates. And it seemed like they made that clear at the beginning of the movie, I think, because he also was talking about how he hadn't. So it seemed like neither of them had really had a serious relationship since they broke up.
Okay.
Like they were just kind of dating and it wasn't really working out or whatever.
Okay.
They did set that up.
Okay.
Okay. I guess the next topic I want to get to is just like the writing of the dialogue. And there were just other little things where I was like, oh, this is clearly a Topher Payne joint.
Yes.
You know, like
Yes.
first of all, like I said, this is my first Hallmark movie, but I had certain expectations for the quality, and like this movie was like way better than it had a right to be. You know what I mean? Like the dialogue was snappy. Like I thought the jokes were good. There was even a good joke in there at some point about how there was even a good theater joke worked in there at one point where like Dean Cain is talking about how his ex-girlfriend was like she did theater, not Melissa Joan Hart. He was telling Melissa Joan Hart that his ex-girlfriend like did theater and that she broke up with him because he kept falling asleep in her boring plays. And I was like, that is hilarious. I also loved, so we didn't talk about this character. What was her name? The other woman who was up for the job? Weddings by...
Something McQueen.
Kate McQueen. Yeah. So so there was a dumb jock up for the job, but he had no personality.
He couldn't speak.
No. And so he was quickly eliminated. And then Kate McQueen was like a sort of say yes to the dress type character, you know, like a reality star who had like her own empire.
Yeah.
The thing about her that I thought was amazing was she was just like one of those catty Southern ladies that would have been worked into another sort of script that you would see set in the South, which a lot of Topher's plays are set in the South.
Yeah.
As a Southern writer. And he was able to work in this like perfectly catty Southern lady into this script that was supposed to be taking place in like New York, which I thought was great. But yeah, she had the accent, she had all the bless your hearts and the aren't you precious stuff. And so yeah, I mean, obviously we chose this film because we knew that we liked the writer and the writing did not disappoint.
You know.
I know you. You're the girl from the internet video.
Emily Morgan.
Oh, yes, that's it. I'm Kate McQueen.
Oh, it's so great to meet you. My mom's a big fan of Save the Date with Kate.
Oh, aren't you sweet? I think it's just precious them letting you come in and be on the show.
Yeah, I'm actually a candidate. I'm up for the co-hosting job.
Of course you are, honey.
Okay, that is going to be our stopping point for the first half of our discussion on broadcasting Christmas. Not sure where that stopping point is going to be, but I can promise you that it will taste better than a fruitcake. Thank you for joining us for this episode of the podcast. This podcast is produced by Critical Crop Top Media. We also produce other podcasts. We produce live comedy shows, web series, short films. There's like a bunch of stuff that we're going to be adding to our catalog of content in the upcoming 2020. So I believe we already, at this point when this show comes out, we'll have already announced that we'll be adding some editing tutorials to our YouTube channel. So come check us out. We're at Critical Crop Top on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And of course, you can follow this podcast, the Georgia Made Podcast. We're at Georgia Made Podcast on Instagram and Facebook. And you can find us on Twitter at Georgia Made Pod. And tell us what you think.
Yes.
About Hallmark Christmas movies.
Please.
What's your
Tell
favorite?
us which ones to watch.
Oh, yeah. Please give us some suggestions. What other Hallmark Christmas movies, what classic Hallmark Christmas movies should we check out? Let us know. Sarah, are you in the Christmas spirit right now?
I am, actually. We put up our Christmas tree this weekend.
You did?
Yeah, because we're having a holiday not a holiday Christmas party, a holiday party at our house for our law firm next Saturday.
Well, deck those halls.
Mm-hmm.
Deck them. I haven't decked my halls yet.
No, you haven't?
No, we went to the storage locker and got all the Christmas accoutrements today, and the tree is up, but we have not decorated it yet. I'm going to put on my Christmas music. I got some records. I got some of the very Merry Christmas, like the 1980s, like where they have like, you know, like the Pointer Sisters and Run DMC and like singing and like In Excess or whatever, you know, like singing Christmas music. That's what I like to put on while I decorate my tree. Shall we go wassailing?
Yes. Among the leaves so green.